Okay, go. So we're talking about hope for the honeybees, and we're talking about a feel-good project. Okay,
Yeah.
Owen, to you.
Okay, so with the big fires in Knysna, beekeepers lost almost 500 hives, and about 50 beekeepers were affected. Some that do beekeeping for a living, many that supplement their pension, and many that supplement their other income, and then one or two hobbyists as well. Through an absolute, I don't know what act of God, if you want to call that. Grant, who's part of Honeychild, ended up meeting Dr. Suleiman, and Dr. Suleiman, after hearing the tragedy with the bees, wanted to see if he could do something to help. He came and saw a hive colony that we'd rescued in Sedgefield that had survived the fire. And we opened the hive, and the bees touched him, and he said, "What do we do?" And the first thing we had to do was get feed for the bees. And we used 3 scientists to give us an idea on the figures that we already had. And as a result of that, Gift of the Givers both funded pollen substitute and nectar substitute. And Guy McGladdery from McGladdery's in Pietermaritzburg donated 100 hives. We were then able to acquire through McGladdery's, purchase another 100 hives. And then through Knysna Beekeeping, another 100 hives were donated. So we're able to help beekeepers with their hives. But of course, when you don't have bees, hives are pointless. But for those that survived, we were able to give them pollen and nectar substitute. Through Norcus Rafir in George and Pledge Nature Reserve in Knysna, Mervyn, we were also able to secure packets of seeds. Now the seeds would be both flowers and vegetables, the flowers of which would help bees in the area that might have survived, but at least give them something to work on. And that was Angie's point, because she came out and she didn't want any beekeeping equipment because she'd lost the house, she'd lost the hives, and she'd lost all the flora in her area. And despite advice to the contrary, because of ash and all this kind of thing, she said she was going to start planting. And she planted prolifically. She planted the seeds we gave her. Every weekend she was on that piece of ground planting. She acquired red flowering carumbia as well, and a variety of other things that would benefit the bees. And she even posted 1 or 2 pictures of bees on flowers, which we were astounded by. We could only assume they'd flown up from Belvedere, which is in their flying range.
Just other side of the Homtini Valley, Renendal, Knysna. This hive comes from an area in Belvedere where it survived the fire in June 2017. Subsequently, that beekeeper, Eddie Hart, decided to give this hive and another one to Angie Mitchell, who not only lost all her hives on Brenton Hill, but also in fact her home. We managed to get them out of a burnt area where they were starving. Lucky enough they survived. We got them back to the honey room to Hope for the Honeybees, set up through Gift of the Givers. And with the food that came through Gift of the Givers, we were able to not only help these colonies to survive for the initial 2 months, we were able to relocate them to this beautiful area. We were about a month ago to see how they were doing, and we were able to harvest honey about 3 weeks ago. But as you can see, they're busy filling up again. So they are more than thriving, more than surviving, and in actual fact thriving at this time. So we can surprise Angie with honey from these hives.
Hello, Angie.
Hello.
This is Angie.
Hello there. Hi.
She's just filming this.
Oh.
She's got something to show you. So you remember after the fires, when you lost your hives and your house and everything, and before anything else, when people said you can't, you went ahead and you started planting things prolifically.
That's right.
Even though you had no bees for them.
Yeah.
Well, you also know that Eddie gave you 2 of these colonies.
That's right.
And he swore me to look after them and to help them recover and then move them to a good location.
Yes.
Which we have done. He followed instructions.
Follow the instruction. What we have right here is something for you from your very bees. Inside there.
Oh my word. Honey again. Oh yes. Fantastic. Oh, that is honey marvelous. Thank you.
Thank you, Eddie.
No.
It was just through me, but Eddie passed the bees on.
Oh, thank you.
Okay.
I've been
No, not
watching-
just the one, it's all of them.
Oh, all of these are yours.
All of that people.
Please just look at that colour. Oh man, this is perfect. I've been
So, Hope for the Honeybees, we're speaking to Angie. Angie, tell us your story of the what happened to you and your bees.
Well, I had 4 hives, and with the fires in June, there wasn't time to get them out, and they were totally destroyed, the bees, the hives and everything. And there was nothing, even the grass burnt. So all the lovely fairbos burnt, and through the gift of the givers with seeds, were there seeds from the gifts of the givers?
Through Pledge Square.
Pledge Square, and some that I bought myself just to get covering onto the ground, and some flowers going, so if there were any insects around and bees, that they had something to eat. And we stuck these seeds all over Hubbard squash, gem squash, pumpkin, butternut and watermelon. And they, with a little bit of water and the help of we've got the Malawi gardener, these magnificent harvest pumpkins.
An abundance of harvest.
Abundance of harvest.
Okay, where is your property situated?
It's up on the western head, right at the apex of the hill where the trig beacon is. So it's the highest point of the western head.
Okay. So, Owen, you went and Angie brought the pumpkins to you.
Yeah, I was quite blown. I'd come back from doing a bee removal and I walked in the house and Lily said, "These are from Angie." And I said, "What?" She said, "Remember the photograph she showed me of the bees on the flowers?" I said, "Yeah, this is the fruit."
Okay. So, and Eddie, all right, so you decided to donate 2 hives to Angie. Tell us a bit about that.
Well, Angie's a good friend, neighbour, and I was very lucky that my hive survived miraculously. And I just felt that I didn't want her to lose interest, because she's been a very keen beekeeper and part of our group, done wonderful things for us, given her time. I thought the least thing I could do was to give her a couple of hives to get her going again. That,
Excellent.
My role was a small role.
And then the hives went where? You took the hives to Angie?
Well, the hives were burnt out on the hill here, and
Yeah.
so I took a couple of hives to Owen's, and Owen then saved them for Angie.
There's not
Yeah.
enough food on the hill to sustain any bees, so they had
To go to Owen's.
Yeah.
Okay. And from there, Owen, you went and placed.
Yeah, Eddie made me commit to helping them recover from the drought and the fire and build them up to sustainable level, and then to relocate them to a very natural site. And so we kept our part of the bargain.
And you have all this amazing honey now.
That's right.
Wonderful.
On top of that, we've also had a lot of donations of corymbias, the red flowering gums, and to date I've just put my label on the 50th tree that I've planted on our property.
Oh, wow.
Plus at least about 100 seeds that have come up with the big bearded proteas, the nerifolias. So we've got about 100 of those that are going to be on the hillside eventually.
Excellent.
Fantastic.
Thank you very much, and good luck with your bees and your planting,
Thank you.
and may they prosper.
Thank you.